Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I thought I'd read this week's parashah. Um, this is the portion of the Torah that will be read in synagogues around the world during this week's Shabbat Saturday service. We know you will be blessed as you read along today. Enjoy. Um, Then it came to pass, when Pharaoh had let the people go, that God did not lead them by the way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near, for God said, lest perhaps the people change their minds when they see war and return to Egypt. Exodus 13:17. In last week's study, after the last and the most devastating of the 10 plagues, death of the firstborn, Pharaoh finally relented in letting the Israelites go free. This week, however, in Parashah Bashalik, Pharaoh changes his mind and races after them to bring them back into slavery. Thinking they are lost in the wilderness, Pharaoh seemingly traps them against the Red Sea. There is no escape, but God is marvelously splits the waters so that his people pass through on dry land, while the Egyptians drown behind them. In relief and thankfulness to God for the amazing victory over those who wished to enslave them, Moses, and the Israelites sang a beautiful song called Shirit Haim, the Song of the Sea. Some also call it as Yashir Moshe, then Moses sang, which are the first words of the Song of the Sea, Exodus 15:1. This song is recited daily as part of the Shimkarat morning prayer service. It is written in an unequal wave or brink-like pattern, and the Torah scroll is recited in regular chat and traditional models. In true humility, this song gives no glory to the leadership of Moses or praise to the people for the faith it took to walk between walls of water, but totally gives the glory and praise to the Lord. I will sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted. Both horse and driver he has hurled into the sea. Exodus 15:1. The Song of Moses is perhaps also mentioned in the Berit Kadashah, New Testament, as a song that will be sung by those who defeat the beast in the end times. However, this time they will sing by the sea of glass instead of the Red Sea, and holding harps instead of tamarines. Those defeating the beast, its image, and the number of its name were standing by the sea of glass, holding harps which God had given them. They were singing the song of Moshe, the servant of God, and the song of the Lamb. Great and wonderful are the things you have done, Adonai, God of heaven's army. Revelation 15:2-3. Moses' sister Miriam also goes out with the maidens, and they dance for joy with tamarines. Because of these songs, this week's parashah is called Shabbat Shiri, Sabbath of Singing. Besides reading the song of the sea and the song of Miriam on Shabbat Shiri, some have the custom of feeding the bride in honor of the beautiful melodies that they sing, and perhaps the manna that was found on the ground by the Israelites in this reading. This is a course usually in that wild birds are generally not fed on the Shabbat. Only designated birds such as geese and chickens may be fed. The Talmud explains that the Shabbat should not be broken by feeding animals that are fed for themselves, although there is responsibility to feed the pets and designated animals that are under your care. Both the Torah portion and the half-Torah prophetic portion of this week's study contains victory songs of God's people. In the parashah, the Israelites sing the song of the sea, extolling the honoring God for delivering them from Egypt. In the half-Torah, the song of Deborah is sung when God gives the victory over General Sisera and the Canaanites. Then Deborah and Barak, the son of Abiram, sing on the day, saying, when leaders lead in Israel, when the people willingly offer themselves, bless the Lord. Hear, O kings, give ear, O princes. I will sing to the Lord. I will sing praises to the Lord, God of Israel. Judges 5:1-3. There are several other connections between the Torah portion and the prophetic portion from the book of Judges. In both accounts of Israel's victories, their enemies had assembled against them in chariots, but God threw their enemies into a panic. Also, in both the parashah and half-Torah, Israel's enemies were swept away in water, and the woman celebrated by singing and dancing. Music is a beautiful God given gift to his people. Sadly, many in the world misuse this gift to glorify the powers of darkness with vulgarity and pornography and promotion of violence and death. However, we can use the gift of song to praise Adonai for his goodness and mercy. Our response to the victory that God brings us in our lives can be freely expressed with rejoicing, with singing, and with dancing, just as Moses, Miriam, and Deborah did. Awake, awake, Deborah, awake, awake, sing a song, arise, Barak, and lead your captives away, O son of Abmenim. Judges 5:2. The Hebrew word bashalik, the name of the parashah, means when he sent. Pharaoh didn't simply let the people go, he sent the Israelites away. When he did, God did not lead them on the straightest, most direct route to the promised land, which would have taken them through the Philistines' territory and into the certain battle. Instead, he led them around and through the Red Sea of Yam Surf, Italy's Sea of Reeds. Why did God take them on the quickest route and into battle? The rabbis answer this with a story of a man who purchases a cow and takes her home to produce milk for his family, not to kill her for her meat. Because the slaughterhouse is on the path to his home, he takes her on a longer and more roundabout route so that she will not smell the blood from the slaughterhouse and try to escape his care. Seemingly, God did not want the Israelites to go through the Philistine territory and immediately encounter a war. Thus, they least they lose heart in God's protection, care, and run back to Egypt. Likewise, God might not take you on the most direct route to fulfill your destiny. Instead, he just might take you out of the way a bit, proving his magnificent love for you by parting a sea on the way, lightening the path during a time of darkness. With that first hand experience of God's presence, your faith will be made stronger to sustain you in the trials that will certainly come to you further down the road. Still, as with any relationship, it takes more than one great experience with God to know who is and to understand his character, intelligently, and love. So sometimes the journey to our destiny is more than roundabout, it is the long way. The truth is evident of the Red Sea, even though the Israelites experienced walking out of Egypt with the spoils of the land and their firstborn sons still alive. that was not enough to calm their fears for long. And when Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them. So they were very afraid, and the children of Israel cried out to the Lord. Exodus 14:10. Mm, mm. Okay. The frightened Israelites did the right thing with their fear. They cried out to God. Then they did the wrong thing. They blamed Moses for bringing them out of Egypt, only to be in, annihilated by Pharaoh's soldiers. They considered it better to have been left to serve the Egyptians than to die in the wilderness. Exodus 14:11. Sometimes sometimes when moving on the path to greater freedom, we may encounter fearful challenges and wish we had just stayed where we were, no matter how painful or uncomfortable that old place felt. Nevertheless, moving ahead means facing new challenges and seeing God's power demonstrate as we overcome them. Moses reassured the Israelites that God would fight their battles for them, and they would only need to hold their peace. But Moses said to the people, "Do not fear. Stand by and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will accomplish for you today. For the Egyptians whom you have seen today, you will never see them again forever. The Lord will fight for you while you keep silent." Exodus 14:13. Now the Israelites had a dominion that were trapped between a big sea and angry Egyptian army, and Moses told them to keep silent. That silence involved a choice. On one hand, they could keep silent, hear the approaching chariots, and surrender to them in overwhelming fear and helplessness. On the other hand, they could keep silent, listen to listen for God's directions to move forward, kedma, and obey Him. Mm, let's see. And the Lord said to Moses, "Why do you cry to me? Tell the children of Israel to go forward." Exodus 14:15. Their silence was not meant to be passive. It involved action. So often we told so often we are told, "Wait upon the Lord," and we often accept this to mean do nothing. It is true that there are times when we must find the patience to simply do nothing, be but wait until God shows us his directions. However, there are also times when God says, "Move forward." At those times, We are to rise up from bended knee in horrific faith and go. God has wonderful blessings and victorious in store for us if we would only take the first steps of faith, trusting in His leadership and wisdom. Though Yeshua are more than conquerors, Romans 8:37. Let us then not miss our orders to go forward with boldness and confidence to possess the land that is ours. Moses demonstrated great faith to his people. We also need to encourage those who are fearful, reminding them of God's great power, love, and faithfulness. So to those with fearful hearts, be strong. Do not fear your God to come, and do not fear your God to come. I'm sorry. Anyways, it says, be strong, do not fear. Your God will come. He will come with vengeance, with divine retaliation. He will come to save you. Isaiah 35:4. Today, as the people of Israel stands surrounded by the sea of hostile enemies, bombarded by a wave of terrorism, may, may all believers reach out to the Jewish people with the words of faith and courage that God is not only our physical salvation, but also our spiritual salvation through Yeshua. He will fight our battles for us. And also, we go forward. We can be at peace as we trust in Him. Shabbat. Oh, Shabbat Shalom. God bless.